results of the group stage. The group stage. It just concluded earlier today. There were 4 matches today, I believe. I haven't been able to watch a lot of them because of the time the matches are on here on the west coast of the United States. It's pretty difficult for me to tune in and see all of them. I watched a handful though. I've watched all of the US games. I've watched a couple of the Japan games. Their 2 biggest games, really. Their one against Spain and their one against Germany. Which other ones have I seen? I think I saw, England, Iran. I saw that one. But today, we're going to go over the groups here. Starting with Group A. And we're going to go like how we did in my NBA Awards video, bottom to top. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you're not familiar, the top 2 teams from each group qualify to the next round, which is referred to as the round of 16, due to the fact that there will be 16 teams playing in the next round. So we start at the bottom of Group A, and we have Qatar. Qatar is our host nation for this year's World Cup, and they go out in the group stages. They are the first host nation of a World Cup to lose their very first match, and I believe they are the very first host nation. Obviously, they would have to be, to lose every single match that they played. They end with a record of no wins, no draws, 3 losses. They have a goal differential of -6, and they have 0 points. Bottom of Group A is Qatar. Next up, third in Group A, we have Ecuador. Ecuador ends with a record of 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. They got 1 of each. They have a goal differential of 1, and they end with 4 points. 4 points. Next up, our second country for the group stage, and the first team here from Group A to qualify for the round of 16. Senegal. Please excuse my handwriting. I know my handwriting is not the best, but we have Senegal in the second spot here in Group A. And they ended the record of 2 wins, no draws, 1 loss. They have a goal differential of 1. And they end with 6 points. Finally, the winners of Group A. We have the Netherlands. The Netherlands end with a record of 2 wins, 1 draw, no losses. They have a goal differential of 4, and they end with 7 points. So this is Group A. Now we move on to the group that I was most invested in as an American. Group B. One, 2, 3, 4. There we have Group B. And at the bottom of Group B, we have Wales. I think a lot of people probably had the US here at 4. I saw a lot of pundits, especially in England, that put the US at 4. But Wales ends 4th. Wales ends with a record of no wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, and that draw is thanks to a real boneheaded, just stupid penalty committed by the US, which gives Gareth Bale a late equalizing penalty in the first game the US played. No, they played England first, excuse me, but did they? I don't recall if they played England or Wales first, but regardless, against the US, we commit super late penalty against Gareth Bale. He scores to equalize. Really stupid, and it put more stress on the US to win that last game against Iran than it needed to, but whatever. Goal differential of -5, and they end with 1 point. 1 point. Next up in the third spot, Iran. They end with a record of 1 win, which is against Wales. No draws. 2 losses. They got shellacked like 6-1 or 6-2 by England. And they lost 1-0 to the United States. Goal differential of -3. And they end with 3 points. Now, we get to the first qualifying team here from Group B. We have the United States of America, the USA. On that last group stage day against Iran, the US, it was either win or go home. And Christian Pulisic sacrifices his body, sustains a pelvic injury, in order to get a late goal in the first half He would not return for the second half. There were some questionable substitutions by Greg Berhalter in the second half. The U.S. almost concedes a goal late, but they do not bend. They do not break, rather. They did bend, they did not break. The U.S. wins 1-0 against Iran. They qualify. They're moving on to the round of 16 to play the Netherlands. The U.S. ends with a record of 1 win, 2 draws, 0 losses. Honestly, that draw against England was huge, and it showed how defensive the U.S. midfield can be. I actually think that the U.S.'s midfield is a bit underrated in this tournament. I think defensively, their midfield can shut down a lot. And for that, I think it's kind of 50-50 against the Netherlands. I think it's going to come down to how well the U.S. midfield will hold up defensively. But I do think that they're pretty underrated there because the U.S. did not give up a single goal in open play. The only goal they gave up was a penalty through 3 matches. That's pretty good, and not even England can say that. The U.S.'s goal differential was 1, and they end with 5 points. And finally, the winner of Group B, the favorite coming into this to win this group, England. England ends with a record of 2 wins, 1 draw, no losses, and a goal differential of 7, which they racked up against Iran and Wales. And they end the group stage with 7 points. So there is your Group B. Next up we have Group C. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just realized I'm not going to be able to fit a 4th one on here. The spacing's going to get weird, but that's okay. We have Group C. And at the bottom of Group C, a team that shocked the world in their first match, beating Argentina. And a team that honestly looked better than their record. I thought this team could have gotten second. Maybe you could argue they deserved second, but that's not the way the cookie crumbles. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia did really good in this tournament, even though they came 4th. I thought they looked really good. That Argentina win was huge. They just unfortunately weren't able to carry that momentum forward into their other games. They end with a record of 1 win, no draws, 2 losses. I think if they would have just drawn out, they would have at least gotten second, I believe. Goal differential of -2, and they end with 3 points. 3 points. Next up in Group C, we have our fellow North American brethren, Mexico. It's funny, there was this one fan that they kept showing. It was this Mexican guy wearing a jersey that was half Mexico, half US, and he was wearing a huge oversized sombrero that said USA on it. That guy was like the personification of like Mexican American. I loved it. Mexico ends with a record of 1, 1, and 1. They end with a goal differential of -1. And they end with 4 points. 4 points. In the second spot in Group C, our first qualifying team, we have Poland. Poland, honestly, despite them getting second, Poland did not look as good as I expected. Lewandowski didn't look great. I think he did get a goal or two. But still, I was expecting a bit more from Poland than what they did. Poland also ends the record of 1, 1, and 1. They have a goal differential of 0, and they also end with 4 points, but it's that goal differential that lifts them up over Mexico in the end. Finally, the winners of Group C. They were the favorite to win the group, one of the favorites to win the cup. It looked like it might be a little shaky there when they lost that first game, but they pulled it off. It is Argentina. Argentina. That's a terrible A at the end. Argentina ends with a record of 2 wins, no draws, and 1 loss. They have a goal differential of 3, and they have 6 points. Lionel Messi moves on to the round of 16. I think I can fit this in here. I think I can fit D on this page. It's gonna be dicey, but I think I can. Group D. And I'm just gonna have to do this. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 down here at the bottom, outside the margin. I'm sorry, this is ugly. Group D. This group, kind of a shocker to me, especially this bottom bit here. This is a team I was expecting to get the second spot in this group, and that is Denmark. I didn't watch any of their games, so I don't really know what happened here. But Denmark, I was definitely expecting them to do better than 4th. They, and then they have a record of no wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses. From what I've heard, Eriksson just looked not great. I don't know, but man, Denmark, did not expect to see them 4th. Maybe I could see 3rd, but dang, not great. Only 1 point for Denmark. 3rd spot, Group D, and we have Tunisia. Tunisia ends with a record of 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. And they have a goal differential of 0. And they end with 4 points. Now, the real pleasant surprise, the nice, sort of shocking surprise, a team that nobody expected to be here. Not a single pundit put them making the round of 16. We have Australia. Australia coming in 2nd in Group D. Just a real gutsy performance from Australia all throughout this tournament. They have a great team play. Not a lot of big egos on the team. It's interesting because this wasn't considered a very strong team. This is considered a weak team, even by Australian standards, which already aren't great. this is not like the golden team like 2006 was, but they're on to the next round. How far will they go in the next round? Who's to say? But they made it. Australia, they end with a record of 2 wins, no draws, and 1 loss. They have a goal differential of -1, and they end with 6 points. And that last win was, let's see, I think it was France, wasn't it? That last win was, no, it was Denmark. They lost to France, and then they beat Tunisia, and they beat Denmark. That's right, okay. Don't know why I thought they beat France. But that is Group D. So moving on. We come to Group E. Group E. And let's go here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Coming at the bottom of Group E, not much of a shock to anybody here, is Costa Rica. Costa Rica. I just realized. I never put the top of Group D. That's so funny. Excuse that top of Group D is France. Of course. They were the favorite to win this group. They are one of the favorites to win the World Cup in general, similar to Argentina. And they end with a record of 2 wins, no draws, and 1 loss. I think looking up that Australian record kind of threw me for a loop there. They end with a goal differential of 3, and they end with 6 points. Same amount of points as Australia, but they get that top spot on goal differential. Sorry again, I forgot to put that in there. Sorry to any of my French fans. Just a little slip of the brain there. Back to Group E. As I was saying, not really a shocker here. Costa Rica coming in last. They end with a record of 1 win, no draws, and 2 losses. And I think this is the worst goal differential of the tournament, a goal differential of -8. And they end with 3 points. 3 points. Next up, the one that's a bit of a shocker for me. My second favorite, kind of rooting interest here in the World Cup besides the United States, because I am a Bayern fan and so much of the German national team is Bayern Munich players. But a big shock. Germany comes in 3rd, and for the first time in Germany's history, they fail to move beyond the group stage in back-to-back World Cups. And sadly, this is probably the last time we see Thomas Müller and Manuel Neuer in the World Cup, which is a very disappointing way for their international careers to end. I was really hoping Germany could move on, maybe make a bit of a run. I know that They haven't been as good in recent years as they used to be, but still, it's really disappointing to see them go out like this. Müller and Neuer, some of my favorite players of all time. Germany ends the record of 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. They have a goal differential of 1, and they end with 4 points. 4 points. Group E, second team, the first one that qualifies here. Prepare to be shocked again. Spain is second. Me personally, and a lot of people, I imagine, had this group pegged as being Spain, Germany 1-2. Spain usually being the one in that equation, but Spain comes down to 2. They end with a record of 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. They have a goal differential of 6, and they end with 4 points. Now our winning team in Group E, another pleasant surprise, and definitely like a plucky underdog team that everybody's going to be rooting for. This is definitely the team I will be rooting for if the US goes out and they advance. The top spot in Group E. Japan. Japan is the first team in World Cup history to come back and win from being down in 2 matches in the group stage. They came back down against Germany and they came back down against Spain to win both those games. And they've had some absolutely amazing, crafty team goals. The thing about Japan that's nice is there's no like big egos on the team. It's all teamwork and camaraderie and just a really fun team to watch, easy team to root for and like. Like I said, if the US goes out and Japan advances, they're my rooting interest the rest of the way. Japan ends with a record of 2 wins, no draws, 1 loss. They have a goal differential of 1, and they end with 6 points. That's Group E. Next up we have Group F. I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not watch a single game out of Group F, so I don't have anything to say about these games. 1, 2, 3, 4. Group F, not really a shocker here. This is pretty much where everybody had them, but the 4th place team in Group F is Canada. Canada's first World Cup. They have a young team. They'll obviously be back next World Cup because they'll be hosting it with the US and Mexico, right? So they'll be back, obviously. Alphonso Davies becomes the first goal scorer in Canadian World Cup history. As a Bayern fan who loves Alphonso Davies, that's nice, but the team just isn't really there. They're just not at that level yet. They entered the record of 0 wins, 0 draws, and 3 losses. They end with a goal differential of -5, and they end with 0 points. I think that Canada and Qatar are the only teams that end the group stage with 0 points. Disappointing for sure for Canada, but maybe not unexpected. Next up, this one is a little unexpected, at least for me. Like I said, I wasn't super up on any of these teams in Group F, but I thought this team would come first or second in this group, and that's Belgium. Like I said, I thought they'd come one or two. They have maybe not a lot of good players, but they have like De Bruyne on their squad, and I thought like, he'd be enough to elevate them at least a little bit. Best midfielder in the world, but Belgium ends the record of 1-1 and 1, like so many other teams did in this tournament. They end with a goal differential of -1, and they end with 4 points. Second place team, Croatia. And Croatian fans were showing out this tournament. There's a lot, I've been looking up on social media, like all the posts of fans celebrating and going crazy, and Croatia fans were always being posted on social media for their crazy celebrations. So they're really feeling themselves this tournament, and with them advancing, hopefully we get some more good Croatian fan content. They end with a record of 1 win, 2 draws, and no losses. Croatia does. A goal differential of 3 and 5 points. Finally, the winner of Group F. This kind of shocked me a little bit. Maybe I underrated them a little bit. Like I said, I don't really know much about any of these teams in Group F. Like, I don't really know any of the players on the Moroccan national team, but obviously they're better than I thought they were. They end with 2 wins, 1 draw, no losses. Goal differential of 3 and 7 points. Alright, Group G is up next. Group G. Yep. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. Bottom of Group G, we have Serbia. I thought maybe Serbia could come third in this group, but they end up 4th. 0 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses. They end with a goal differential of -3, and they end with a single point, but at least they didn't end with 0 like Qatar and Canada did. Next up, Cameroon. I thought Cameroon would come last in this group, but they did not. They end with a record of 1-1, a goal differential of 0 and 4 points. A lot of teams on 4 points in this tournament. A lot of teams with 1-1. Very interesting. It's like the most common result. I don't know if that's common, but yeah. Second in the group. Not really a surprise here. The Switzerland comes second. They end with a record of 2 wins, no draws, 1 loss. They have a goal differential of 1. And they end with 6 points. And finally, the winner of Group G. We have another World Cup favorite, Brazil. They end with 2 wins, 0 losses, or 0 draws, 1 loss, excuse me. I think their loss comes to, was it Cameroon? Or did the Swiss beat them? I don't know. But they have the same record as Switzerland. But their goal differential is what gives them the top spot over the Swiss. They have a goal differential of 2. And they end with 6 points. 6 points. Finally, we come to Group H. Group H. 1, 2, physical teams I've ever seen in the World Cup. Like, they were crazy physical. Their game against South Korea, like, they just physically dominated them. I thought that they for sure were going to make it show South Korea didn't go to the next round, and they almost did, but at the bottom we have Ghana. Yeah, Ghana was interesting because their team was like a lot of physicality, not a lot of skill. It was very interesting to watch. You don't see that style of play very often. Ghana ends with 1 win, 0 draws, 2 losses. Their win coming against South Korea. Goal differential of -2. They end with 3 points. Now the third place one. This is a bit of a shocker, especially because the reason they're in third, even though they won their game, is kind of a coaching mistake. I'll touch on that in a little bit when we get to the second place team, but we have Uruguay. And if you've seen the video of Aguero on the bench, seeing the scoreboard and seeing that his country will not be advancing to the round of 16, you know exactly what I'm talking about if you've seen it. Heartbreaking stuff. 1, 1, and 1 to enter the goal differential of 0. They have 4 points. Now, the second place team, super excited for them because I love Son. He's one of my favorite players. We have South Korea. After that Ghana game where they were just getting bullied, I thought South Korea was done for. But they beat Portugal in their last game to secure the second spot. And this is a coaching decision that's being sort of criticized by the Uruguayan coach. He took all of his best attacking players off against Ghana. And basically it seemed like he didn't think South Korea was going to be able to score against Portugal. So he wasn't taking goal differential into account. He thought South Korea was either going to lose or draw or whatever, and he thought it wouldn't matter. He saw no way that Uruguay could lose that spot. So in a moment of hubris, he took off his attacking players, brought on defensive players, and what do you know? South Korea ends up beating Portugal, and Uruguay is out. South Korea goes 1-1 and 1. They have a goal differential of 0, and they end with 4 points. Super happy for South Korea, though. Like I said, after seeing them get bullied by Ghana that game, I was like, man, I hope they can win somehow, because I just kind of felt bad for them. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of Son. And there was another player, I'm forgetting his name. He scored their winning goal. Who was it? It was Hwang Hee-chan. Hwang Hee-chan scored the winning goal against Portugal in like the 90th minute in stoppage time. And sends them on to the group stage, or the round of 16 rather, where they're going to face Brazil. Kind of funny, like, congratulations, you made it to the next round. Now here's Brazil. But top of Group H, the winner of this group, we have Portugal. They end with 2 wins, 0 draws, 1 loss. They end with a goal differential of 2, and they end with 6 points. So that is Group H. And there's a few interesting storylines here now. Obviously, Messi versus Ronaldo is still on the table. It's both of their final World Cups. We have some really cool underdog stories happening now. South Korea is an underdog story. Japan, Australia. From the first page, we got any good underdogs here? Maybe not any other underdogs on that page, but Australia, Japan, South Korea, definitely underdogs. Feel good stories to keep an eye on, see if they can do anything. Another funny one, USA versus Australia, and the final is still technically, although a super long shot is technically possible. And it's the two countries that call it soccer instead of football. So I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your thoughts were about the group stages of this World Cup, what you've thought so far. Honestly, this has been a really exciting tournament. I've really enjoyed it quite a bit. USA versus Netherlands is tomorrow. Excited and nervous about that for sure. But honestly, at this point, as a fan of the US, we didn't qualify last time. We made it out of the group stage. We're the second youngest team in the tournament. At this point, we're playing with house money. I'll be happy regardless if we beat the Netherlands or not. They're a good team, but I think it's 50-50 that we can beat them. Anyways, like I said, let me know what you guys thought about the group stage. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.